Another month, another book haul. For today's video, I have a grand total of 12 new books to show you. So hello my fellow fantasy book lovers and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Kathy. I'm a goth girl from Belgium who loves to read fantasy books. In today's video, I'm going to very quickly and briefly go through the 12 books that I purchased during the month of June. Some of these were pre-orders, some of these I just bought because I felt like buying books. So there's not really an excuse to why I'm breaking my book ban, just simply because I want books. These first 3 books I actually bought together at Fnac. For those of you who live in Belgium, Fnac is a chain store that has electronics, that has like books, that has comics, that has board games, that has music and vinyl and stuff. So they have a little bit of everything. It's like a media store. And they also, of course, have English books. Now, there was a promotion on the English pockets and I saw 2 books that I actually really wanted. So it was 2 + 1 free. So it is the second and the third part of the House Witch series, which is a series I'm going to be reading this fall. So since these were also rather cheap and then also the promo, I just bought them. No, I haven't read the first book yet. No, I don't know if I will like the writing style, but it feels like cozy fantasy and it feels like something that will be perfect starting like September, October. And since I'm going on holiday in September, I'm not sure if I will bring these books, but I will for sure be reading some cozy fantasies. And then I also picked up as the free book because, which is funny, most of the fantasy books on the table in the pockets I already owned. I'm starting to see that I have a problem, but it's a good problem. I love reading, so I will get through them eventually. So I picked up this book, which is something that I didn't know yet. This is called The Secret Service of Tea and Treason. Apparently, this is one of the parts in a series. I hope I can read it as a standalone. I'm pretty sure I can. The cover reminded me of The Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon and The Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. So that's why I picked it up. When rumors circulate that a group of dastardly pirates plan to assassinate the queen, Alice is immediately assigned to the case. However, she won't be working alone. Enter Daniel Bixby, master spy and Alice's greatest rival. Together, they must assume the identity of husband and wife in order to infiltrate a perilous pirate party. And then, unfortunately, the sticker is over the rest of the text. So we'll see. This just seemed like a fun romantasy read, and this is the type of book that I use as palette cleansers. So yeah, I will be reading this at some point, and it doesn't feel like I have to have read like the previous books from this author. So that's always nice. Up next, we have 2 books that are guilty for my Waterstones shopping trip, and it is Court of Dragons and Vows and Court of Dragons and Ashes, both by G. Bailey. I read the first book of this series, which is down there in my bookshelf, and I absolutely loved it. This is a why choose romance with one girl and then dragon princess lords kind of something. I'm not going to go too deep into the explanations. I've already finished these. I love these books. I have 0 regrets in buying them and 0 regrets in going to Waterstones for them. And whenever I go to Waterstones, I like to always try and be there whenever my favorite salesperson of the shop works there. She's called Emily. Emily, if you see this, you are amazing. You are worth making the trip to Brussels and buying my books in your store because you always give me advice on books that I will like. So the next 3 books were all recommendations by Emily, and you will know that she knows what I love to read. The first one is the Revenant Games. This is a softcover because there weren't any hardcovers available anymore, and this is a vampire themed book. Once a year, the Revenant Games take place between enemy witch and vampire kingdoms. For 17-year-old Bly, competing means the chance to win immortality for her best friend and resurrection for her lost sister. A dangerous plan to play both sides begins until Bly captures a vampire who shows her that forbidden passion is the deadliest game of all. Join an intense battle of love and survival in an epic new paranormal romantasy. So yeah, needless to say, I'm very excited for this. The next book is a book that I actually had on my want to read list and that I didn't recognize, because when you see this beautiful cover, you think, oh, cozy fantasy. And this here on screen is the cover that is used in Goodreads. Not quite the same. It is called Someone to Build a Nest In. So the basic premises of this book is that you have this monster, Shisheshen, who's being hunted. She's a shapeshifter, and in order to escape, she transforms into something human-like. A human woman finds her, they fall in love, but this woman is also hunting the monster, which is actually Shisheshen. So I'm very curious to see how this book goes. Shisheshen, the monster, usually to like build a relationship and to like have kids and stuff, they actually plant their eggs into their partner, which is something she's not going to do with a human girl, I think. So yeah, I'm very curious to this book. It sounds like a super fun and yet a little bit dark premises. So I'm very, very excited for this. I hope I get to read it soon. This is definitely high on my TBR list. I really can't wait to get to it. And at Waterstones, I also picked up this tiny book, which actually was a very big surprise because I've already read it and I really loved it. Now, this was described as a dark fantasy, urban fantasy, and I wasn't given a lot of explanations other than you have to read it. And this book is called When Among Gods by Veronica Roth. It says a curse, a calling, a sacrifice. And on the back, you actually don't get any information. It's only like blurbs from other authors. So at the beginning of the book, you have the explanation. It says, we bear the sword and we bear the pain of the sword. Pain is Dimitri's calling. His family is one in a long line of hunters who sacrifice their souls to slay monsters. Now he's tasked with a deadly mission. Find the legendary witch Baba Yaga. To reach her, Dimitri must ally with the ones he's sworn to kill. Pain is Allah's inheritance, a fear-eating Zmora with little left to lose. Allah awaits death from the curse she carries. When Dimitri offers her a cure in exchange for her help, she has no choice but to agree. Together they must fight against time and the wrath of the Chicago underworld. But Dimitri's secrets and his true motives may be the thing that actually destroys them. I loved this book. This had a little bit of in Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. There's this like dark underworldly vibe. And this feels like a world that is parallel with ours, that has magic, that is dark, that is twisted. It contains a lot of special creatures, like fantasy creatures that you don't encounter every single day. And I think if one of these books you want to pick up and read, I could highly recommend this one. This was one of my favorites. And if you want to know even more about it, in my June reading wrap-up, I also talk about this book a little bit more. And then the final book from Waterstones, thanks to Emily, is Your Blood, My Bones by Kelly Andrew, author of The Whispering Dark. It says, a seductively twisted romance about loyalty, fate, the lengths we go to hide the darkest parts of ourselves and the people who love those parts most of all. Wyatt Westlock has one plan for the farmhouse she's just inherited: to burn it to the ground. But during her final walkthrough of her childhood home, she makes a shocking discovery in the basement. Peter, the boy she once considered her best friend, strung up in chains and left for dead. Semi-immortal Peter has suffered hundreds of ritualistic deaths on her family's property. Bound to the farm, locked in a cycle of grisly deaths and painful rebirths, there's only one for him to break free. He needs to end the Westlock line. He needs to kill Wyatt. The spells protecting the property have begun to unravel, and dark, ancient forces gather in the nearby forest. The only way for Wyatt to repair the ward is to work with Peter. But how can she trust a boy who's sworn to destroy her? When the past turns up to haunt them in the most unexpected way, they are forced to rely on one another to survive, or else tear each other apart. So I'm not sure if this is YA or adult fantasy, but it sounds like a premises, like a setup that I really enjoy, like the duality, maybe it's not really enemies to lovers, because I don't think this will be enemies to lovers, but it's like the dualities of working together with someone you don't like for a greater good. I really enjoyed the type of books. So up next, we have the Fairyloot June book, which was The God and the Gumiho. So it is the Fairyloot June adult box, The God and the Gumiho by Sophie Kim. The theme was Demons and Deities. A story of a meddlesome nine-tailed fox who must team up with a handsome exiled trickster god to chase down a powerful demon that has escaped from the underworld. All this whilst keeping their true identity under wraps. So we'll see how this turns out. I do love the beautiful cover art. I also really like the spray painted edges. It has extra artwork on the insides. The cover has been redesigned and it has a cup of coffee. And then of course there is alternate cover art as well, which I'm not really the biggest fan of, but that's fine. And I have actually skipped the July box, which was a book that I wasn't really that interested in. So next month there will be no Fairyloot book. So this was the June Fairyloot. And then finally, the last two books are two vampire-themed books. These were pre-orders. The first one that arrived was the Vampiria book. The second one, it is called The Court of Miracles by Victor Dixen. If you don't know it yet, Victor Dixen is a very well-known French author who has written the Vampiria saga. There is multiple trilogies that actually belong together, and now they've finally been picked up and translated to English. So book one is the red book from, I think, last month or the month before, and now I have book two as well. I am not sure yet when I will read this. I hope soon, but I have so many other books that I want to prioritize that I'm not sure when I will read it. It is based on Louis XIV and all of the Renaissance, like, vampire type stuff. So I'm really curious for this. I'm really excited for it as well, but it's not super high on my read list for now. And then the final book is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. This is a special edition. It has a spray painted edge, and I always think that they look funny when it's like swords, because you will never have your book exactly flat when it's standing, so the swords always look a bit wobbly. I think this is like not the best choice for like spray painted edges and stuff. However, this book, I'm already reading it at the moment of recording this video. I have 50 pages left, more or less, and I love this book. I'm so happy that I have it. And this is actually the book that completes the Nyaxia duology, apparently. However, there has been a third part announced to it. So I'm like, could you just wrap it up in 2 books, please? But yeah, I'm not regretting that Carissa Broadbent is writing more books. I just wish that if you say something is going to be a duology, stick to it. So this is the book that comes after Serpent and the Wings of Night. And then you have the in-between book, which is called Six Scorched Roses. And the main characters from Six Scorched Roses come back into this book. However, you don't have to have read Six Scorched Roses in order to read this. I did love Six Scorched Roses, so I would highly recommend it. These were all of the books that I picked up during the month of June. I know I'm not doing great with my no buy, low buy, but honestly, it brings me more joy to actually have books to read and new books, and I just get excited when I see some of these books. And I know sometimes I would regret not picking up a book whenever I see it in store, and I make money, I have a job, I can afford a few more books. It's not the best thing for my bookcase, especially not my TBR pile, but yeah, I will get to them eventually. Let me know in the comments down below which of these books speaks to you most. And of course, if you want to share, feel free to let me know in a comment down below which books did you pick up during June that you feel are worth talking about or that you're looking forward to reading. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. And of course, if you haven't already and you'd like to be, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every week and I would love to have you for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!